Hello there, what's going on everybody? It's JB here with episode 6 of this Burnley career mode, and it's a special transfer deadline special, and we start with making an offer for Jordan Ibe. He's a young lad, of course, 21 years old, and we want to try and sign him. His market value is 3.2, so we wanted to get him as quickly as possible because we think he could be we think he's a long-term replacement. Possibly, we look at him as a long-term replacement for Aaron Lennon when he decides to move on, or he gets a little bit too old for him. So we make an offer of 4.5 million. We think that's a fair offer. And Eddie Howe, returning to his old roots at the Barnfield Training Centre, decides when this was put forward to him, he agreed. So they were happy. He was happy with the terms. I was happy with the terms. I thought 4.5 was very good business as we walked out. And then we go back. Now we go up to the negotiation side of things, where Ibe and his agent sit through, and sometimes these things can be long and drawn out, I suppose. But here we are. So we decide on giving him a rotational status because we think he's a young lad. He's still got some way to possibly go in terms of development. He's only remember, he's a young kid. He's only 21 years old, 71 overrated. So overall rated. So he's a very good player, and he is going to be for the long term. Although in the end we ended up offering him a 3-year contract, which he wanted to sign, but we can always re-sign his deal in about 12 months' time when the contract starts running down. I always try and re-sign players because we want him to stay at Burnley for longer than 3 years. So, I mean, I should have tried to push for 4, maybe 5 years, because we see people like Jordan Ibe as the future of Burnley Football Club, in all fairness to him. But we offered a 3-year deal and all that sort of thing, and to be fair to Ibe, he didn't want a release clause. His agent pointed that out to me, so I was only too happy to accept that one and agree with him that we didn't need a release free clause in his contract. So it was all down to the wage packet. We wanted to offer him more than what he was earning at Bournemouth. We thought the offer of the signing bonus was quite a fair offer, considering he's only 21. He's a young lad, all his career ahead of him. He knows he's going to be making money. We offered him 30 grand plus the signing bonus, but the only problem is they wanted 28.5 grand. When we cut to the agent at this particular point, when I've given him the offer of 30 grand and 710 for signing bonus, he actually adds 165 grand after 5 appearances and lowers it to 28.5. So I thought maybe I actually thought the deal was. I thought they'd agreed too low a price on the certainly on the weekly wage, but still good to get him on the books. He became our 5th summer signing, and he joins Shawcross, Lennon, Ings and Trippier as being our new faces. Well, 2 of them are old faces returning, really. And it was a remarkable deal at that particular moment because it gives us somebody long term to really groom and go forward from. Our next transfer target was Joe Allen. Now, we thought this was going to be a cut and blow dry deal. We spoke to Mark Hughes, and to be fair, we didn't scout him enough, and I'm sort of at fault for this because I originally wanted to swap Scott Arfield for him, which I thought was a fair deal, but Mark Hughes didn't think so because, to be honest with you, I wanted to swap Arfield because I don't like Arfield. I'm not his biggest fan, not in real life as well. In real life, to a certain extent, because I think he should have left us at the end of last season, presumably, but never mind. I've never liked him on FIFA, so I offered it him, and Mark Hughes didn't want it. He wanted a left back, and the only people that I could have offered him were Stephen Ward and Charlie Taylor. Now, I don't know whether he would have been interested in one of those players or not, considering that Charlie Taylor we've just signed from Leeds and looks a promising left back. And Stephen Ward is a highly experienced campaigner who's been there, seen it, done it, got the t-shirt. Having said all that, we decided to bid 6 million quid. We turned down that particular request from Mark Hughes. So we went and bid 6 million quid for him, which I thought was maybe a bit too low. Maybe if we'd have bid a 7 or 8 now in hindsight, it could have been good. But they tried 13.5, and in my mind it wasn't worth it, because it just didn't seem right to me. It didn't particularly register with me, to be quite honest with you, and in the end I just said no. When they ended the negotiations, that's enough, and Mark Hughes just walked out in a right huff and left me ashen face. So we missed out for Joe Allen, but we did have a backup plan, thankfully, and he was a lot younger as well. So, you know, 25 years old, I think he is, 25, 26, still room for improvement, nowhere near his peak. We got Clement Grenier, so we decided to get this guy in from from Olympic Lyon. And we offered a blind 11 million quid, and we didn't know how much we were going to bid for him, because we didn't know how much his valuation really was. So we went 11 million quid. We're thinking that probably the French club might want more, in all honesty, because we didn't honestly think. And then, to our surprise, they accepted the offer, and they were quite happy, and we walked out, and so we offered him a new contract. We offered him a contract. We had the agent there as well, and this was a very busy deadline for us, really, all these contracts and stuff. So my office was probably quite busy down at the Barnfield Training Centre. So we wanted to get Grenier there. He looked impressed with our facilities, so we offered him an important team role, because we knew that we were going to have. He knew he was going to have to get past the likes of Jack Court, Jeff Henrik, and our very own Belgian Stephen Defoe. They were happy with that particular squad status, so they weren't too adverse to that. However, the years that we wanted to sign, I wanted to offer him 4 years, because he's in his mid-20s, and if we can get him peaking by the time he's 30, around about the 80 plus mark, we might be able to get a few bob for him after 3 or 4 years and peaking him up. And they were happy with the 4-year deal. So now it was all about the actual contract and the actual wages, because they weren't too bothered about a release clause. Neither was I, to be quite honest. So we were quite happy for that to happen, and so we didn't want to include that. So we bidded. So we offered him a deal. We decided that he would get paid that sort of money, 56 grand a week. We were happy to do that. It was a brilliant piece of business, and we made our second signing of the deadline day, and our 6th signing in all, joining Jordan Ibe, Shawcross, Lennon, Ings, Trippier as well. So 6 signings through the door. In fact, 5 signings. Yeah, 6 signings. Sorry, through the door. And then there was the big one to come. This is one of our marquee signing, or potential marquee signing. We didn't think about Andre Schürrle until an afterthought, and we decided he might be worth a punt. So we decided on. We knew it was going to be at least. We knew we had to bid at least just over £15.5 million to get our man. We decided to go for 17 million quid for him. Well, 17 million and 10,000, and they wanted to sell him for 19 million. So we thought we'll counter this, because we didn't think it was right. So we decided to knock it down £1 million. I'll say, okay, we'll pay you 18.9 million. How about that? We said to the representative of Borussia Dortmund. Yeah, he's 26 years old. He's 80 overrated, and Dortmund amazingly agreed to it. And this was unbelievable. Now, we're in the presence of greatness here. Little old Burnley could be about to sign Andre Schürrle, a German World Cup winner, no less, on the left wing. Now, This was going to be probably the signing, the coup of Burnley. The coup of Burnley Football Club. We offered him Crucial, but we know that him and Brady will rotate, and sometimes he'll have to play down the right to accommodate that. Although I could play Brady down the right, but that's another matter. But to a 26-year-old and 80 rated, this was a too good an opportunity to turn down. He was absolutely over the moon with the crucial role we offered him. He wanted to sign a 3-year deal, which I wasn't quite sure, but I said, go on then, 3 years. Then even better, no release clause necessary, which was fantastic, so we could sell him for whatever price we damn well wanted, which was fantastic. He didn't want a release clause. Then the wages was the thing. We nearly offered him £1. We decided on 63k plus £2 million signing bonus. We submitted that offer. I thought this was a fair deal. In fact, it was even better because he accepted the offer. 63 grand. I didn't think I'd get a World Cup winner on them wages and the money we got. And Andre Schürrle, just before the window closes, becomes our 7th and final summer signing. And he is probably the best signing we could have had. We've had some big coups this summer. Even getting Trippier and Ings back was great coups, but none as big as Andre Schürrle. And what business we did in that last window, in the last minute of that window, was unbelievably brilliant. And what a team we're going to have now going into the rest of the first half of the season before January. Unbelievable. £75.1 million our net spend. That's really good business. We've done some great business, and 7 signings cannot be bad. One piece of bad news though, Dean Marney has Dean Marney's talks have broken down. There was an offer in for him, but as I say, so there was another offer in for Sam Vokes from I forget where. I'm just trying to think where that Sam Vokes deal came from, but this came afterwards. There was I think a bid of about £8 million, and it was Southampton who bidded, and we sold Sam Vokes for £10 million. This was after the window, so they'll get him in January. So we lose Vokesy, but we gain £10 million, which means we can buy a replacement striker in that time. And that is about it from this particular edition. But stay tuned for the next one, because it's a cracking match that we've got in store for you against Crystal Palace next up. You wouldn't want to miss that one, and the game will be done in its all entirety. I'll explain. And then I'll let the episode explain the reason why. Hope you've enjoyed this summer transfer deadline special. For me, JB, from episode 6 till episode 7, take care. Bye bye for now.